but I thought it was going to be easy, when you start your own company, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could fix anything. However, no business training at all.
Yeah.
So, man, was it rough.
So what year was that when you did it?
It's 2012. So my daughter was just born and I started my own company. So what a gamble that was. My wife was like, whoa, because she wasn't working. We just had a baby. We were living with our in-laws. Quit my job.
Yeah.
Start a business. This thing failed. Uh-oh.
Right.
So it was the timing was just there. I didn't do it on purpose, but yeah.
Sure. It just felt like the right time.
Man, yeah.
So 2012, it's a brand new business. It's not like you bought somebody a book of business.
Yeah.
How did you start getting customers? Was it word of mouth?
Well, I was working with my wife, right, which is good and bad at times. So she kicked me out of the house and I was in the garage. Yeah, that was cool. And I was just doing everything on my own, getting customers from Home Advisor. That was the main way. And then word of mouth and so forth. And then obviously it gets overwhelming. You can't do it on your own. Hire my first guy, hire my second guy. And then that's how it all started,
Right.
But it was good and bad at the same. I think a lot of people, when they start a business, they think you're going to get in your truck, you're going to run a call, you're going to collect the money, then you're going to go back home. And that's a fantasy, man.
Yeah.
That is a fantasy. That does not happen. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So some long hours.
Yeah. Long hours. And then when I got in the office, just worrying about these techs that I hired to make sure they do a good job like I would, that's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were some of the hard lessons you learned over those early days?
Man, the early days is just trying to manage my guys properly. It was rough because, I almost had a nervous breakdown because of the pressure and the stress. I didn't realize you have to be good with people. I didn't realize that you have to make sure your techs do a good job. And I didn't realize how crazy customers could be either, especially here.
I was going to say Florida. I didn't get through that.
Let me tell you something right now. In Florida, I tell my guys, they can love you when you go in their home. You're like Superman. You fix their air conditioning. But if that unit breaks down that night and they have to sleep without AC, they will hate you the next day. They will turn into a monster, a sweaty monster and it becomes different. People cannot live without AC. People will go to hotels.
Sure.
Rather than, because when it's cold, you could put on stuff. It doesn't matter if it's hot. It's sticky, it's nasty, and people get nuts, man. So dealing with these people, especially if my guy did a bad job, and it was our fault, and they're dealing with a customer like, this guy did this. Like, oh my gosh, I got to go out there myself and fix his stuff. It was tough, man.
Sure. Were you making money then, or were you just...
Yeah, we were making money, but I didn't realize how much money was going out. Like, money was coming in. You forget, like, oh my gosh, you got to pay the permit. You got to pay this bill. So, like, without having business train, I never went to school for business. People go to school, college for, business degrees and so forth. So it's like, who cares if the money's coming in? If the same amount is going out, what's the point? And that took me a while to figure out.
Right. So you find us in 2017, I believe, is what I saw. How did that happen? Someone reach out to you? Did you find us?
Goodman and Patrick.
Oh, okay.
Just got an email saying, welcoming people to this meeting here, Goodman. And that's how I first started. I went there, and then Patrick, came introduced and so forth. I was hesitant. My wife was hesitant too.
Yeah, so let's slow down. What made you even entertain going to this thing?
I couldn't do it on my own. I realized at that point that you need some kind of help in order to do this. And I see guys struggling that I know now because they don't have that help or guidance. And without it, there's so many guys that start their own business here in Florida, and by the next year they're done.
Yeah.
They know how to fix something, but running a business is tough, man.
Right. So you go to this event. What do you remember from the event?
I remember thinking about everything that he was talking about and realizing that, wow, this makes sense. This is exactly what I need. This is my pressure relief, and because this is just too much. Like I said, I can fix anything, but I can't run a business. So I need help on what to do and, making sure I have the right guys, the right customers, and how to control not just the money coming in, but going out.
Right. So you were on board. There was no hesitancy?
My wife.
So how did we get?
So, I'm just 50%. So to convince my other half, that's tough because she's always has a lot of questions or are you sure about this? And I think I even got Patrick on the phone. We were on a three-way. I'm like, I can't do this. You convince her. So he was talking to her and, she finally said yes. And but it's it's like you don't know what to expect. So
Sure.
that's when we jumped into it.
It's a leap of faith for sure.
Yeah.
So you sign up. Next step is to go to executive perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You're on a plane to Dallas.
Yep.
What was that experience like?
You just realize how much you don't know.
Yeah.
Holy moly, you realize how much you don't know. So not just the training but talking to other successful business owners and them telling me all it is. I'm like, wow, you wish you would have known this from the beginning.
Yeah.
But man, it takes years, and then you find out that you need help. But if you would have found it from the beginning, and then you would have relieved all that pressure and stress, man, it would have been awesome. But
Right.
it takes a while the light bulb.
Sure.